Hey, what's up, everyone? And welcome to the third episode of the Chaos Theory Quick Start Guide. So, in this episode, we're going to be talking about combat related moves. So, first of all, let's talk about injuries. Injuries happen when you get hurt. Injuries can be mental or physical in nature, and they are specifically described. What that means is that it's not just a number, it is a number, but it's also a description. So, for example, you could have an injury that says broken arm, and it's associated with the number three. And that would be more severe than an injury called scrapes and bruises that's associated with a value of one. So injuries are always specifically described. This is so you can keep track of the actual physical state of your character so that you can actually play off of it in the story. Injuries escalate as they accumulate. So, what that means is that if you already have an injury, then the next injury is going to be worse. So, if you already have like scrapes and bruises for an injury of one, then the next injury you get, even if it's an injury of one, that's going to be more severe. So, that might be something like a deep gash on your abdomen. It's just going to become worse the more injuries you get. A character enters what's called critical state when their injuries are equal to two times their force value. Characters in critical state can be incapacitated at the option of the attacker, but they can escape at the option of the director. So, incapacitated, that does not mean killed necessarily. It depends entirely on the situation. There might be a situation where being incapacitated includes being killed, but generally in chaos theory, we are not usually out to kill people. We're usually out to get people out of our way. That's what most of the tech, most of the combat tech revolves around. But there are certainly situations you could get into where deadly force is being used, and that's when you could actually get killed by being incapacitated. So you do need to pay attention to what kind of weapons people are using. A character who's attacked in critical state, they don't have a chance to retaliate. But if they do have a realistic possibility within the story of getting away before they are attacked, the director can approve that and say, yes, okay, you can get away, so you don't have to be, taken hostage or killed, perhaps, or anything like that. They live to fight another day. That's up to the director. Mobs are a special type of character who are not named and they don't really have any information associated with them beyond a simple description. And so mobs are always in critical state. So what that means is that you don't have to formally attack a mob. You don't have to go through the process of using the attack move, which we're about to talk about, to incapacitate a mob. If you say that you incapacitate a mob, it is done. Attacking happens when you injure or incapacitate someone. So, this is one of the more complex systems in the game, but once we break it down into the component parts, it shouldn't be too bad. First of all characters in a fight have a guard value, and their guard value starts off equal to their force value. So your force value is basically fixed. However, your guard is something that is dynamic and it's going to change from turn to turn. So your guard value starts equal to your force value, and at the beginning of your turn, it is going to reset to its maximum value. However, it can go down when other people attack you. So when attacking, you subtract the initiator's force from the target's guard. If the target's guard drops to zero, the target sustains one injury. If the target sustains an injury, the initiator may choose to inflict additional injuries equal to spark tokens that they pay up to their force. So basically, what this means is that in order to actually hurt someone, you need to get past their guard. If you can't do that, you can't hurt them. So there's going to be several ways to do that. So let's explore those now. So one way that you can deplete someone's guard if you're not able to do it alone is you can lower their guard on your turn part of the way, and then your ally can take it the rest of the way. So if the first initiator attacked a target and lowered their guard to 0, and then it's not the target's turn yet, a second initiator can attack the target with 0 guard, in which case the target will sustain 1 injury, and the second initiator can also choose to pay spark tokens to inflict additional injuries the same way as we just described. So there's one more really important concept with attacking, and that is advantage. Advantage is extremely important in combat and chaos theory. So how this works is that the initiator can petition the director for advantage if their character is exploiting the situation to their benefit. So basically how this works is you're exploiting the enemy's weakness, you're using your own strength to your advantage, or you're taking advantage of the environment that you're in, using objects around you and so on. Advantage doubles the initiator's force this turn. So obviously getting advantage is going to be a really big boost, and you should try to search for ways to gain an advantage whenever you can. So there's also a counterattack move, and this happens when you turn the tables on the attacker and you fire right back at them before they have a chance to actually hurt you. So before sustaining injuries from an attack, the target may choose to counterattack if they hold spark tokens. The initiator of the counterattack has to pay 2 spark tokens. The attack that was being made on them is now negated, and the initiator of the counterattack, their guard now returns to their max value, and the initiator of the counterattack now can make an attack against the character who attacked them instead. So it's just a complete reversal. Now, this is still up to the director, much like advantage is up to the director whether they want to approve this. So it only works if it actually makes sense that you have a way to turn the tables, like if you have a special move that you can bust out, or you have an item that you can use, or something like that. So the target of a counterattack can, in turn, counterattack against their counterattacker at the cost of an additional spark token. So if I counterattack you and pay 2 spark tokens, then now you can counterattack me for 3 spark tokens. This can get a little crazy, but again, this always comes down to if the director sees this as actually making sense within the context of the story. So you really can't abuse this unless you have a specific reason why you're able to get past someone's attack. Defending is quite simple. It's when you protect another character. And to defend, you simply declare that you're getting in the way of an attack that's being thrown out against someone else. And the initiator of the defend move now becomes the target of the attack, again, at the director's discretion. So this, again, is something that you have to make sure it actually makes sense when you're doing it, but it is a way for beefier characters to protect weaker characters in a combat situation. And finally, we have heal. So healing is when you recover from your injuries, and it's decided entirely through roleplay. There aren't really any specific rules for how this works, but generally we're taking a somewhat realistic stance where if you're really seriously injured, you might be in the hospital for days or even a week, and that's something that we have to play out in roleplay. It's something that we have to include in the story. I mean, we can just skip over it in the story, but time has passed. Things may have changed, and that's something that the director can take advantage of. In chaos theory, there are no healing potions, there are no quick fixes. There are things that can stabilize a character so they're not, continuously losing their health. And there are drugs that can help characters to ignore their injuries, but there's nothing that can magically heal injuries extremely quickly. So there you have it. Those are the core mechanics of chaos theory. So now you should be pretty much up to speed on what you're going to be doing to engage with the rules of this game. on a session-to-session basis. So that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.